This is my sort of after a week or so of using it. I've got the color version here. There is a black and white version as well. And the black and white version is even cheaper. And I do actually recommend it for its price point. One of the things I've done today was look through lots and lots of comments on Reddit, on here, and people's experiences with them so far. And many of you are reporting that you really like the fact that this is an affordable smartphone. And maybe if you only have one SIM card, then maybe you can choose to keep around your older OLED phone and get this and just switch the SIM card to it when you want to not take the bigger thing with you. And then of course you can always hotspot. It does have mod cons like hotspot. You can actually share your connection with another device as well. So there are still some great things on this as well in terms of its kind of modern use. Ruby and I chatted earlier about, no, unfortunately you can't use a stylus on it. We wondered whether the USI stylus would. I'm afraid it doesn't. This is currently working, as you can see, on the Google, but not on here. So no, there is no stylus support, unfortunately. But let's look forward to a future where we can have a e-ink phone which is as big as this. You know, I think that's the future personally. A little bit squatter probably, about this sort of size. OLED on the front for videos and other things. E-ink in the middle for your e-ink stuff. Your reading, basically. Your text. But Ruby says, no, really, it's not like I'm standing out there writing, so how's the text to speech? Well, of course, you can. I don't actually have Google Docs on here, but you can, if you want to ever write something in, you can use, well, I've got the Google keyboard there. This is the Gboard, and that's the first thing I recommend you install on this, on just about any Android device, really. Install the Google keyboard, and they are excellent text to speech. And so I would go with that, really. One nice thing here, if you are a Big Me user, you do also have the Big Me voice to text there, which I haven't really used all that much. But the nice thing about it is it frozen? Here we are, just took a little moment there. Is you can add voice notes directly in the device. We're recording a voice note now. We're recording a voice note now. Will it transcribe it, or is it just leaving the voice note in here? I think it's just leaving the voice note. Oh, there you go, AI summary, AI tidy, there we go. So it's gone into the chat bot. Didn't particularly want that. But what it also has, what I really like about this and what I was intending on showing you, is that you've got all of your notebooks from your larger Big Me device. And I think really, if you're someone who's already in the Big Me ecosystem, then this now makes a lot of sense to get this as a companion device and use this as your phone, because you have all of the notebooks from your Big Me device. And I think they're getting towards having a really compelling e-ink ecosystem. So that should be interesting. That should be exciting in the future. I'd probably prefer a normal 6-inch reader width-wise. Yeah, but this is the phone as well. So I think, yeah, absolutely. 6-inch readers are absolutely great. An Android 6-inch reader, absolutely brilliant as well. There's loads of those now available. But I would say for me, what I'm looking for is always having that reader with me, and it is working. Rather than what was happening to me, which was sort of opening this and spending a bit of time checking my YouTube studio analytics, spending a bit of time like working and having a look at what was going on with my videos, checking YouTube to see if there were new videos out that I was interested in. Rather than doing that all of the time, I've now got this on me. And so when I get that impulse to take it out of my pocket, I'm checking Kindle. I'm checking what's going on in the Decameron or what's going on in Watchmen. And that is better for me currently, and it's working really well for that. And then look, there are times when I'll decide to take this with me, and I'll decide, no, I need to actually have, you know, this is a better thing. It's a bigger screen, obviously. It's a better thing for doing Google Maps, for instance. Google Maps works on here. It does work, works just fine. But for instance, in the car, and I haven't found a way to change this, maybe somebody has, I've found that this this screen times out after 5 minutes or whatever you've set it to, and I want it to time out after 5 minutes, but this screen times out when I'm in the car, whereas this screen knows, well, he's using maps, he's getting directions, so I'm not going to time the screen out because currently being used. So it's just for things like that, really, that it isn't a final kind of polished, perfect product, but it is, for what it promises to be, it is doing the job. So as you can see, maps works, but clearly what do you really want to use in a car for your navigation? You want to use the big screen like this. So there we go. I personally think, yeah, the black and white version would be better. Bigme is updating it frequently there, but there are still some basics to be fixed in the software. Cool, yeah, and that was one of the recommendations I was going to make. And every single time I'm about to make this recommendation, I think, do you know what? Just commit to it being a reader. Stick with the black and white and enjoy reading on it, because this older Kaleido screen is not as nice to read black and white text on as the black and white screen is. It's not as high resolution as the black and white screen is. But then I think to myself, no, one of the things I'm really enjoying is reading the graphic novels on here and having, you know, having this guided mode where it takes you through one panel at a time. It's just the right size. It works really, really well. I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And when you occasionally want to do a full screen refresh, you've got the second button over this side and you can make that a full screen refresh, you know. And then I think, well, do you know, color, you want that. But you don't want whatever Kaleido version this is, a Kaleido 1 or something, or like 90 odd PPI in color. I'll get as close as I can with this camera. And it just, the color, you know, isn't as good as the Kaleido 3, which we're kind of used to on the larger devices. But you know, although it's nice for a little while to read comics on the OLED screen, you just can't do it for a long period of time on that. It is nicer to read on the e-ink. Google Fi to this phone is not compatible. Any details on that front? There have been reports of not perfect coverage. So I had this little kind of like hairy moment when I put my first SIM card, I put my SIM card in, I was like, is it going to work perfectly with my SIM card? And it does, you know, it does all the calls, all the texts, and all the 4G stuff just fine. But Kai says it will work on your phone, but it's, there we are. Hopefully that helps you. Thanks, Kai. Appreciate you very, very much. I'll answer your question. You know, not every app is going to work. If an app needs biometric, for instance, it's not going to work. Although I said that it won't work for internet banking, and some people corrected me and said, no, it does work for internet banking as long as they don't require biometric. So good question there. How does the performance and responsiveness compare to the Boox Palma? I was going to bring these in and do a comparison a little bit later. I would say it is fairly comparable. Actually, I'll show you a video in a moment, because I have been really quite pleased with the performance of the screen for the video as well. A 5 to 6 inch ink jotter pad just to jot down notes, yeah. And I think next stage is give us a bit more of a phablet, give us the next sort of size up, give us the pen in the bottom. I think that would be really, really top drawer. I do hope they had Android Auto as well. Yeah, I tried plugging this in because my current car doesn't have Android Auto. We're buying a new one, so we'll be using that. And there's lots of information on Reddit, and you will also find them see, oh, it didn't work, they updated it and they improved it as well. You'll find a lot of enthusiasm for this phone, a lot of enthusiasm for the future of this on Reddit as well. Can I disable the touchscreen to hold it in the way you want and turn page with the volume buttons? It's also a top request. I haven't found a way to disable the touchscreen, but yeah, the page turn with volume buttons does work, as I've just shown you in the Kindle, and that is really, really nice, to be honest. That fits just nicely in your hand. Yeah, just sit in a nice comfortable position with this kind of classic design, and you can just click through your screens. Frankly, it's a good time. What happens, instead of pulling out your smartphone out of your pocket and checking whichever feed you normally check, you pull out your smartphone out of your pocket and you read a few pages. And that, for me, that is what I wanted it to do. And it's so far, it's great. I'm not currently looking back, I'm looking forward to the next ones. Originally, it didn't have some features, like it didn't have a clock. But now it's got a clock and you can do alarms and things like that as well. So they are getting there, they're adding those features and listening and changing things as well.